I was athletic in high school and college. I played sports. And then in the few years after college, I started noticing I'd gain a few pounds, a few more pounds. And I think I probably noticed it was a problem, probably, I don't know, 10 years after. And at that point, going to the gym wasn't enough. I would go to the gym for a few months and quit going. Before I came to Charles, I threw out my back. There's a point where I wasn't able to take care of my baby at the time. My wife had to do it all for a week or so. But it was weight related, and so that was sort of the point where for my daughter, for my wife, for my family, for myself, it was time to make a change. So I've tried other programs, mostly an app I'd find on a phone that counted calories, or a plan for the gym, or just doing running or whatever. That was sort of, there's so much information online that it was almost overwhelming in terms of trying to process it and figure out what actually worked for me, and being able to come to Charles and have him work with me to figure out what is going to work for me, and have somebody to be accountable to made a difference. So I first heard about Charles through Senator Claire McCaskill. I work in politics, and so she sort of publicly went through, trying to lose weight, and talked about using Charles. I met Charles at a couple of events that Senator McCaskill was at. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to try differently this time, I just remembered having met him, found the website and reached out. The first time I met Charles, we talked about, how I got to this point, what I wanted out of it. He was very curious to know just, specifically what are the goals, what had I tried before, but then having a specific plan was a huge difference maker for me. I think Charles matches the personality of the people he's working with well, and so, for me, he was very encouraging, he's very, you need to follow the plan. If you don't do that, you're off the plan. If you cheat, if you lie, you're off the plan. You have to do this. If you're in, you're in. When I first came in, I weighed 270 pounds. Charles asked what number I tried, what do you want to weigh? What's your ideal goal? And at that point, I didn't even know what was safe, what was realistic. I'm like, for starters, I want to get below 250. 225 would be great. It's like, well, what do you want to weigh? Like, well, honestly, 200. If I can weigh under 200, I feel like that would be a pretty significant change. It's like, if you follow the plan, if you do the things I tell you to do, you will get there. And sure enough, I'd say 3 months in, I was probably getting close to that 200. And then we were talking about how I could get to 180, 175, and ended up getting to 175. So 95 pounds is what I lost, and I've been at about 180 for a good year and a half now. I think Charles is successful, and the clients he works with are successful for themselves because he demands the accountability, and because it's more than just the mechanics. It's why is this, not just what. Here's a plan for addressing it, but more importantly, why did you get to this point? And so it's a more holistic approach than just I need to go to the gym or follow this diet or take this whatever. Just making the effort to come in the first time is the important first step. If you're not ready for it, don't come in. But if you really want to make a change, come in and talk to Charles.